Okay, good evening. Welcome to tonight's Freedom Thinking Community Group. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. Much appreciated. The date is the 23rd of February, 2026. Cool. Hey, it's nearly Christmas. It's flying. No, thank you all so much for being here. My name's Dave Ellery. This is Jenny Ellery. I hadn't
Sure.
forgotten your name. I was just didn't know if you want to say it. Yeah, we're Freedom Thinking. This is a via donation event. Anybody who wishes to make a donation, please have a look in the description below. If you're watching this in YouTube, it's in the description below. There's a few methods by which to make donations. If you do it via PayPal, please can we ask that could you do it via friends and family? Just saves payment, what they call
Fee.
fees and all that stuff. Do you want to say anything?
I'm interested to see what
Should we get
Sharon's
cracking?
question is,
Yeah, so
or
Sharon has
topic.
volunteered to start us off tonight with something to have a conversation about. So Sharon, please.
Yes, what I was going to say is um, perhaps you can say something around when you know it's your thinking.
Go on. Can you expand on that a little bit? Can you give us a bit of context?
I might have to talk a bit quieter
Ah,
though. Obviously, I know where my experience comes from, and I've lived a very peaceful mind for a few years. Um, and the situation I know is coming from my thinking, but it don't feel like it's actually even getting his thought because it's my stomach so quickly of my stomach going tight and anxious. It don't even feel like I have the thought first. It just seems to hit the physical very quickly. So it'd be interesting to hear something on when you know it's thought.
versus when you don't.
Yeah, that's the bit that's the bit I've got caught up in because I know it's thought, but I can't believe how quick the physical reaction is that I'm having. It's like, God, I only had time to think. And my body's reacting. So it feels a shock to the system, shall we say, because I've not let thoughts bother me for 8 years, but this has.
That's a cool question.
Go on, you fire.
Um, Generally, when we say we know it's thought, but it's as soon as there's a but, there's a part of us that doesn't really see it in the moment because it feels like our body's reacting without thought almost. And I don't know, I was thinking about this earlier. When I first came across this within the first few years, I remember my sister got in a new relationship, and between them, they had 5 children, and she was pregnant with another within about 4 or 5 months of. It was just a crazy situation, and I used to have conversations with her like, well, when you see that your experience is coming from thought in the moment, whatever circumstance you're in, you're able to be more calm, and you're able to be like this, and I don't know, it became very mechanical in a way, and I think since having Lucia and having a child of my own and just getting lost in the moment and lost in thought in those ways. I'm like, God, I was so arrogant and I thought I knew something. And I had quite a lot of judgment about some of the things that she struggled with. But I think when we say we know it's thought, the whole game of life is thought. It's all from thought. The peace, the what you were saying, your experiences, like letting it come and letting it go, it's all come from the same place. And I think we just get really hard on ourselves when we we kind of get fooled by it again because it really looks as though what we're viewing is creating the experience rather than the way that we're viewing it. And that's all of us at different times of the day, the month, the years. I don't think anyone would say that they're always seeing it. And I think these times are, in my mind, they seem really important for us in terms of learning more compassion for ourselves, for others, seeing the seamless nature of this force that we call the principles that creates life. And I think there's learning in the forgetting and the getting caught up. But the fact that you have the awareness, this is something to do with thought, this is something to do with me, I'm guessing is helpful, even if it's not getting rid of the feeling. You've got awareness. So before, you probably wouldn't have had an awareness, and maybe the kind of conversations you'd have would be quite blame led and all those kind of things. But I think having awareness is enough. And I think we can get quite impatient with ourselves and want to see it all the time. But like, I'm really grateful for the times now when I do get caught up, because it does make me way more compassionate for other people. And I apologized to my sister. I was like, I was so arrogant. I thought I'd found something that somehow you were going to live in families and communities, and you'd see that it was thought, and you wouldn't ever feel affected by the outside world. And I don't know, it's quite funny, really. But I think the way that you've asked the question shows me that there's understanding there.
Mm.
But we sometimes want it to be something else. We're like, is this something different? I'd really like it to be the other person. It's not on me. But the good news is you are still part of this infinite force of insight and new thought, and available to you throughout all of this in any moment is the potential for new ideas, new ways of seeing. So regardless of situation, circumstance, person, whatever is going on, there's always a new way for you to see it, and that's available. And I think being open to that. But it's very easy for us to get stuck on the feeling because we don't like it and think there's something wrong. You're still in a thought created experience, and it's happened so quickly you haven't seen the thought. That's most of us most of the time.
And that's the gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the gift most of the time. You know, like we often say, you know, when we look at each other, or we look at Luce, or we look at something wonderful, you know, it's not like we look at things and go, actually, it's my thinking I really like about this subject. We go, no, I just really like this. Do you know what I mean? I really like that person. I really like this place, and I really enjoyed that time. I love this piece of music. I love that bit of art. You know, whatever it be, and it's nice that we get to play that game and experience life in its kind of richness and as an experience of life, as opposed to an experience of control. And I say use the word control probably because I couldn't think of a better word. But rather than like Jen used the word mechanical control, whereby we are constantly in analysis. Am I seeing this is thought or not? As opposed to living with awareness. One drives you absolutely frigging insane. The other one is almost an allowance of just allowing life to unfold and to be present in the moment with life and experience. One's effortless and one's effortful. We've come across plenty of people who have kind of tried to stick out relationships that are clearly not working. Why? Because I know it's just a thought. It's just a thought that I don't like this person, which is cool. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. However, if you're flogging a dead horse, you may just, why wouldn't you want change? I'm not saying everybody should speak up, but people can use this, a bit of knowledge against themselves. and they can keep themselves stuck in situations that really don't serve them, whether that be work, relationships, anything really.
No, well, everybody keeps saying, move. I don't want to move.
Say that again, look.
Everyone keeps saying move.
Everybody keeps saying, move. I don't want to move.
Yeah.
I can't speak too loud. I was going to type in the chat, but it was disabled because I don't want to talk too loud. Because
Do they live in the tent next to you then?
yeah, but the gift, well, doesn't feel like a gift. But I understand the word gift because I've used the word many times of that situation was the gift in me being able to such and such. And in this instance, it's the universe giving me the opportunity to speak up and say, this isn't acceptable, which is my worst nightmare.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're presented with an opportunity to see through something you don't like doing. It's funny, you know, more often than not, when we embrace the difficult, and there's somebody on this screen now who I know has had a challenging couple of weeks, but I watched this individual just, in spite of her deepest fears, go on and create change in her life that now serves her. And she's doing it in spite of her fears. And it's such a beautiful thing to see in people when they start to see through their own bullshit.
Mm.
Was it Henry Ford said? He said, if you believe you can or you believe you cannot, you are correct.
Yeah.
You know, and there really isn't anything we can't deal with in life. It's that song in Warrior Warrior by Outlandish. God never promised you days without pain, laughter without sorrow, sun without rain. But he did promise strength for you every day. Not sure if that's in the Quran. I said that to a lady once. And she was a Muslim lady. She was one of my clients, and she said, that's outlandish. I said, yeah, it is. She said, how do you know about outlandish? I said, oh, I like outlandish. She went, oh, my husband produces them.
I'll just ask the old lot.
You want look?
I'll just ask the old lot.
Yeah.
Universe, such and such. Can you please help me?
Yeah, you know, but all these things we think we can't deal with, all these things that we come up in life and they're so kind of different to our everyday normal experience. Suddenly, this little curveball comes in, little swing ball, if you play cricket, or a spinner comes up against you and balls spin against you, and you don't know where the hell that ball's going. But somehow we deal with it.
I think it's the intentional acts that the ones that get to me because you know it's being intentional. And to me, that's not a nice
No.
quality within people to do something intentional.
No. I was speaking to a man last night, and he was talking about the same subject. And I told him, I've mentioned this on community group a couple of years ago, because it happened a couple of years ago now. I was attacked in Kendal, my town. I was posting something. And I heard this shouting, and I was posting in one of those locker
Oh, you're
boxes.
picking up a part, I think.
One or two. I was in one of those locker boxes. And I heard this shouting. I looked, and this bloke, there's two fellas walking towards me, and this bloke went, you're going to suck my DICK. I just looked at him, shook my head, and went, no, I'm not. And posted or got what I wanted, and I started walking away, and they started shouting abuse at me. And next thing is they come up alongside me, they flank me, each of them. I'm like, "Are you all right, lads?" And I made it into the supermarket. And as I walk in the supermarket, he punched me in the back of the head and kicked me between my legs and called me a paedophile. Screamed at the top of his voice. And I'll be perfectly honest, at that point, when my left testicle was throbbing, I very nearly spun round and punched him. I was so close to leathering that fella. And he said, "Get outside." I went, "All right, come on then." So I turned around and went back outside. And as I walked out the doors, I saw the car with Jen and Lucia in it. And I realised I had a choice. I had a choice at that point. You either get involved with these two fellas or you keep walking.
Mm.
I kept walking. And I went to the toilet downstairs and I came back up into the supermarket from the other way. And I thought, well, they're probably gone by now. And as I was walking out, these two fellas followed me out. So they were really drunk. And I just said to one of these fellas, I said, "What's your problem?" And this fella looks at me and goes, "He's just had his kids taken off him." And I said to him, "Have you just had your kids taken off you?" "And what's the fuck's it got to do with you?" he says. I said, "Because I'm asking you, have you had your kids taken off you?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Is it because you drink too much, do you think?" He went, "I've only had 1 pint." I said, "You clearly haven't only had 1 pint, mate." And I said, "You need to step up, mate." I said, "Your kids need you. Those kids need their dad." I said, "But you're going to have to step up. You're going to have to stop this. You're going to have to change." And this man burst into tears. And I was kind to him. In spite of what they'd done, I was kind to them.
Mm.
And I'm not telling you what to do. It was just a story that came to me last night. It was what I remembered. And this bloke burst into tears and he said, "Please, can I have a hug?" I went, "Yeah, you can have a hug." And I gave him a hug. And he drew a cross on my forehead and he went, "I'm a Christian." I said, "Then start acting like one." And he said, "You've made me want to be a better man." I said, "Then be it." And then they came down to the car and you met them, didn't you?
Is it the one that tried to kiss you as well?
Yeah, he tried to kiss me. He tried to kiss me when they flanked me. Yeah, he tried to kiss me. Yeah. Yeah. And
That's why I was so confused.
why? You waiting for him to kiss me?
No, I was just that's what all I saw was the guy trying to kiss you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, else I thought it must be one of your friends.
What's up?
Being stupid.
No.
It takes courage probably to be able to say that to somebody because that could have gone completely the other way, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, the old me would have I would have laid them flat straight out. But thankfully I had enough about me to kind of to see two suffering men. You know, people who act like that, they're not in good places.
Mm.
Inside themselves, people who are unkind to people. It's an old saying. People, what is it? What's the old saying? People,
I'll hurt only
oh,
hurt,
yeah,
only hurt people hurt people.
only hurt people hurt people. It's true. It's true. I was just grateful that on that day I had enough about me to see that, to ask a question, to get to understand why this man was so angry and just wanted to take out his anger on somebody. Saw me.
Mm.
I don't know. I learned something that day. I've had it a couple of times when I've been in difficult situations where I've just shown love. Like somebody tried to rob me in South Africa. I was walking down the street on my own, left my wallet in the car, been out for a meal, and I knew this fellow was following me, but he was on the other side of the road. And then I felt him crossing the road, and I felt him come up alongside me. I'm like, here we go, here we go. In the CBD of Cape Town, where you're supposed to not go as a white person. I was like, here we go. He just went, give me your money. I said, I haven't got any money. He went, don't be stupid, look at you, give me your money. I said, I haven't got any money. Money's in the car. Left my wallet in the car. And he carried on walking with me. And the only thing that came to me in that moment was, put your arm around him. So I just put my arm around him and I asked him his name, and he told me his name. And I just showed him love. Again, the old me would have loved that opportunity to have a justified reason to batter somebody.
Mm.
You know,
Well, that's what I kind of do. I do show love, kindness, compassion, and understanding.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it usually backfires on me. Like people say to me, you let people take advantage because of your kindness.
I don't see that. You know, compassion isn't passive. Kindness isn't passive. Also, I'm not telling you what to do. You know, there may come a time when you just need to get straight with somebody. There's that as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's times when you can stand up for yourself. This isn't about being walked over. There's time to be straight and there's time to be kind. And I feel like it, but one of the things that I know from my own life is I lived out of a program. And that program was when you feel threatened, shout. When you feel threatened, make yourself bigger than that person. When you feel threatened,
Right.
scare them. Yeah. But the only reason I ever wanted to do that was because I felt scared.
Mm. I say I run and hide at all costs. I run and hide at all costs. I can't do confrontation.
No, well, it's not nice, love. It's not nice. Carolina, sorry.
Hi. I just thought maybe useful if I share something. Sharon, do you think would be helpful?
Yeah,
Yeah.
crack on.
Okay. So I lived in this house for 22 years. I have somebody living next to me that probably for the past 18 years. So about, I don't know, more than a decade ago or something.
He can hear you, by the way.
You can't.
He can. That's right, Karen. Wow.
He's pointing at Wayne, trying to be funny.
Sorry.
He can hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not this one.
It's not Wayne. Oh, right, okay.
It's not this one.
Oh,
This
right.
one that lives on the other side of the wall,
Oh, right, okay.
neighbor. So no, this one I may have to ask you for some advice, but
Not saying anything.
So since he moved next door, we were like really good. You know, we had a great relationship. And then I separated, my ex-husband moved out, Wayne started sort of coming in and out and whatever. And then suddenly he starts behaving really hostile towards me, and he's tall, and he started talking like really close and like talking to me like very menacing and like and I'm like, what on earth? First I thought he was being funny, and then I realized that it wasn't being, and he's got a temper, and he nearly had a fight with the gardener here, and I had a gardener helping me out, and they nearly punch each other. I was like, oh, whoa, wait a minute.
Bear in mind the garden had like garden shears on him and everything. That could have been
So,
interesting.
then the landlord tells me they were gonna fix the gutters, so or change them or something. So I didn't know what they were gonna put a whole, what's it called, scaffolding around the
Scaffolding.
house.
Yeah.
So I come back, and the first thing I have is he coming to me, going, what are you doing? Like, you put all that, like you have these people looking through the window to see my kids naked in the bathroom. I was like, what? Like, you should have told me, you need to tell me beforehand. I said, I didn't even know they were going to do this. And obviously nobody's trying to look into your windows. And I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. And I was shaking, and I was just like, and then suddenly hit me. It was like, oh, this has gone past my beautiful understanding of like, he's obviously having something going on in his life, or is the way he's thinking, and it's the way I, with my beautiful understanding of the principles, I can obviously find a solution. And well, I told Wayne and stuff, and I called the police. And I said, I feel threatened. I'm threatened. I don't know if Wayne is going to come through the path, and the next thing is he's going to punch him, or he's going to punch me, or I don't know what's going on. They sent 2 police women around. And I just thought, oh God, he's going to be, because he looks at everything, he's constantly sort of checking everything. And I said, he's going to kill me. He's going to kill me, because now seeing that there's police around, and yeah, we're going to go and talk to him. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm not sure my life is, I was just thinking, I tried to do this to protect myself. Now I may have put myself in even more danger. And I tried to put a limit, which I never do. Sharon, I totally understand that. I'm always like, oh, I'd rather not have, confrontation. And I take a lot of, things I shouldn't take. And people walk all over me several times. Not now, much less, I will say. So I said, look, you're going to talk to him, and he's so charismatic. Also, he's a lawyer. You're going to believe everything he says, and I'm going to look like some crazy lady. And the 2 ladies look at me and they said, we know about these situations. Don't worry. We can read behind whatever people say. So I had all sort of thinking around that. Like, what was this going to do? And then they said, well, we can offer you mediation. Would you like to go and sit together in a room and have mediation? I was like, oh my God, this is escalating to more things. So I said, yeah, I am. He was happy. We just tell you not to talk to each other until then. So try not to cross paths and stuff like that. I had my daughter with me, and she was young. She was like 10, 12, 11. So we went to mediation. He was absolutely obnoxious. You can't talk to each other. You have to talk to the mediators. Then obviously we had to come back to the house where we were next to each other. Not together. But so he left, and I sat there, have a full-blown panic attack. I said, I just can't take this. I'm so afraid. I think I'm gonna have to move. I can't. And they were like, look, things turn to, so they asked us to make a list. So next time we get together, he has a list. I have a list. So I write down everything he says. Well, the dogs poo around the garden. I don't have a dog. So I was like, what poo? What on earth is he saying? This and the other and blah, blah, blah. So I thought, okay, before saying, oh, he's making it all up and he's an idiot and whatever, I thought, there may be something I'm not seeing, because why is he talking about poo, for example? So I started going around with a list that I have from his things and checking. And there was actually a massive pile of poo somewhere I didn't see from my garden. There was actually cat's poo. Then I realized that obviously, somehow, all the cats in the neighborhood decided to take my garden as a toilet, because there was no way my cat would produce that amount of poo. Which I proceed to clean. Cat the things in the garden he didn't like. I did everything I could see he asked, and so he actually had a point on things I haven't seen. We went to the third meeting, and he says, well, how are things going? And we would like to see if there have been some changes. So he says, well, yes, I would like to read my list of things that I want Carolina to do next. I'm not happy. My heart sunk. It's just like, there's no more I can do in my head. So he opens this piece of paper and shows it, and the piece of paper is blank. And I was like, what? I said, I'm really impressed. She's done everything that I asked for. I felt really heard. I think she actually addressed what I said. I'm really, really happy and thankful. We had a good relationship for a long time. I obviously didn't understand what's going on. I don't want us to keep being like this. And I was like, well, I'm really glad. I actually realized you said things I didn't see, because I don't go in and out through my front door. And I'm really sorry about that. So we came to this, as in a way you were saying, like, we had a conversation, but I put a strong limit, even though that wasn't my comfort zone. I put a strong limit. I protected myself with something. And then what happened is, right there and then, we signed a final to that mediation that was being sorted. When we did that, the two mediators said, we never ever had something sorted out in 3 sessions. And most likely, we never come to things being sorted out. So they were like, and I thought, well, maybe I should tell them I know this list of that helps. But I don't know, Sharon, if this helps in a way that showed me that even I was absolutely petrified and so afraid. I acted on something that any other time I would have left him walk all over me, or just been scared, or even probably moved out, because I didn't want to have any more of those problems. Something came to me to find an answer at that point. And I would also offer that don't be too harsh on yourself. In a way, like, oh, Carolina's found a solution. Jen's found a solution. Dave's found a solution. I'm the only idiot that doesn't find a solution, right? It's not that. It's that it's available at the time you're ready for it.
Mhm. Well, there is one good thing. I don't necessarily feel harsh on myself, if that makes sense. Because I wouldn't, I personally, out of respect, wouldn't do some of the things that's happening. So I don't think I'm being harsh on myself. But it was also quite interesting there when you said about the cat smack. Because I can't open my windows because of the dog smack. I can't even open my windows. It's fun. So I definitely need to say more than one thing. Yeah, I'm probably in more thinking than I even realised, to be honest.
I mean, you're saying it.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, because it's I don't know, sometimes I think it's beautiful to be able to speak to each other because we can share ideas and I mean, but I'm going to sit here now and I'm going to tell you straight. I don't know what the answer is to your problem. However, I never really know what the answer is to anybody's problem.
Mm.
You know, and we had that proved in South Africa, didn't we, in townships when I wrote down on a board, and I was telling these lot on the retreat, I wrote down on the board, like, I shot myself in front of, not literally, but in 26 people in this room, black people, lives in townships, you know, and I said, because I didn't really know how to start, because they were glaring at me because I'm a white boy. I was like, oh, give me your problems. And I started getting all these problems, and I looked at this board and I'm like, I don't know the answer to your problems. You know, these problems are so alien to my reality. And then this little voice came into my head and said, you're not here to solve their problems. You're here to help them understand the nature of mind. And then at the end of that 3 days, we had 4 whiteboard pages worth of problems. There's 26 people. And every single problem got a line put through it. And some of these included murder. Some of these included prostitution of the children and stuff like that.
Grown up.
Grown-up children, yeah, like their children were prostitutes and like all kinds of stuff that was so alien to me. Every single one got a line put through it. And I'd ask them why have we put a line through that? And they'd go, I see that differently. Or they'd go, that was a problem, but we've come up with a solution for that.
Yeah. I know what the answer is the communication. But obviously that's when then I'm like, oh, I'm actually more thinking than I realised because I've obviously been playing out what could happen, what couldn't, what, and I probably wasn't realising that because it just, in the old days, for torture, when they'd have a dripping tap. If you ever heard that, where they used to have a dripping tap for the torture.
Chinese water torture.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's actually shocked me, but that's what is, because I'm trying to be careful what I'm saying because I know, but I've written it for the constant dripping of the tap of torture in the old days. So the biggest thing has been, can you see it?
Darts?
Shh. That's what I mean.
Oh, against the wall.
Yeah. Can't speak it because I know. Yeah. So this is where I work, you see, and it's
So what are you afraid of?
Consequences.
Okay.
Because you don't take on one, take on the whole family.
Hmm.
But I know it. I just need to communicate.
Yeah,
I think it just helps that I've just verbalized it,
because
to be honest.
the biggest block that we face as human beings is time.
It's what, sorry?
Time.
Yeah.
Time, which is really an illusion. It's where all our suffering originates from, the illusion of time, if you look closely. Worry. When's worry based in?
Mm.
It's a future thing. Anxiety, future thing. What ifs? Okay, now these are simply fabrications of our mind. We have this beautiful gift to be able to use an intellect so we can kind of look at something and we can go, say I'm building a house, I can picture it in my mind and I can see what needs doing next in order to build this beautiful house. And the consequences, if I don't put that beam in, well, that's not going to support the roof. And we do have this beautiful gift, but it is limited. It's wonderful for things like that. But when it comes to second guessing people, it's not always the best. And I don't know about you, but I'm a terrible fortune teller. I'm terrible. Like all the things that I thought would turn to shit generally didn't. And simple things that I thought I was going to have a really nice day today. Go up the other day and said, today's going to be a good day, isn't it? I had had a shit day. And it's like, but if we can really start to notice that what we are really afraid of is actually our own thought creation, that's the thing that keeps us stuck. And as long as we're trying to second guess the future, we can try and second guess the future till the day we die and never solve a problem. Because the mind will constantly create scenarios. That's what it does.
Exactly. Well, this is why my original bit was when you know what you're thinking.
Yeah, but I'm assuming then you know what thought is when we say that.
Exactly. And that's what felt shocking. Do you know what I mean? Because it felt like I'd gone back, or having moments of going back 8 years of being stuck in my thought, and I haven't had that experience really for 8 years. So it's felt quite a shock that I've got caught up in it.
Yeah, it's humbling. You get humbled on this journey, left, right, and center. And if you're not, you're going to be. I'll just say that. If you're not, one day you will be. And you'll think that it's all gone to shit. You'll think you don't know anything. And in all honesty, you're getting more in alignment with the truth. But you become more humble, and inside of you is a knowledge that knows how to deal with this circumstance. You won't deal with it Dave's way. You won't deal with it Carolina's way, Jen's way. You'll deal with it Sharon's way.
Yeah.
You have everything that you need inside you. And I know it sounds such a shitty, wanky thing to say.
No, because it's true. Yeah, I always see that is
absolutely true. Yeah.
It's true. Do you know what I mean? I just haven't been able to see it.
Yeah, it's absolutely
Yeah.
true. And I am somebody who wholeheartedly believes in communication. You've used that word 3 times, I think, now.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who wholeheartedly believes in communication. A straight conversation, a knock on the door and do whatever. Catch them as they're going out of the door. Can I have a quick word with you, please?
Yeah.
And just because I often think, and we've seen it, like people will come and work with us, couples will come and work with us, and they'll say stuff to us, and we'll go, "Wow, have you said that to your husband or your wife?" And they'll go, "No." Why not? I can't. Yeah, but if he, if you could say that to him, what you've just said to me, I think this could dissolve your problem so bloody quickly. You could open up a line of communication and friendship a lot quicker than if you carry on down this same tack. But people are scared to be honest. People are scared to speak their truth. People are scared to communicate with people. And you know, the only thing they're actually afraid of, an imaginary consequence,
Mm.
Which is a feeling.
a
Afraid of
feeling,
feelings.
a feeling.
Yeah, because even it's quite interesting because initially, um, I seen a gift in it because it got me that much. Um, all this grief come pouring out that I didn't even realize I was holding on to, but it kind of ended up as a catalyst of this like grief sort of coming out, so to speak. So that was quite interesting what came from that because I'm like, my fear has always been speaking up. I
Mm.
had to keep quiet to stay safe from a very, very young age. So I know again there's that connection there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now's your opportunity
Yeah.
to realize just how strong you actually are.
Mm, thank you.
One way or another. One way or another. Things get sorted out. I always feel
Mm,
like I if you're honest with yourself first, be honest with yourself first. Get honest with you first. And then you can be honest with the world.
mm,
And if you're honest with the world, then you'll get a reflection of that back. If you're dishonest with the world, be dishonest with yourself, then you will be dishonest with the world. And you'll get a reflection of that back and you go, why is my life shit? Why's my life chaos? Well, it's because you're putting out dishonesty and people are listening to your dishonesty. People are
mm,
acting on what you're saying. They're responding to what you're saying. So if you're saying something that isn't in alignment with yourself, you're going to be looking and getting disappointed with what you're getting back in return. But if you can be honest with yourself first and then be honest with the world, like I often say, people might not like your honesty,
mm,
but at least they know where they stand. And at least you're going to get a reflection of your honesty back. And understand something else about honesty, it changes. Our honesty changes moment to moment. It's part of the illusion of life. And I love, there was something I picked up in Carolina. There was something I picked up in what she was saying, and I feel like it was a real gift. After going to this mediation and listening to this man creating lists of all where she's failing in life. Ah, is there something I'm missing here? What am I missing? Am I listening to that individual? What do you need from me? And I feel like in that moment, Carolina's defenses dropped. This guard, this little box dropped, and she's like, whoo, her little suit of armor came off. Don't you come near me. Don't you do this. Don't you do that. I'm going to defend myself no matter what. You're never going to get your way. Fuck you. It was like, no, what am I missing? I feel when I listened to that, I heard a real humility and a gift to anybody who is having a hard time with somebody else. That is a gift to anybody who heard that, who's having a hard time with somebody else. What's my role in this? How can I serve you? How can I help you? Imagine if Israel and Palestine one day just went, one of them said to the other, here, Israel, Palestine, how can I help you? How can I be of service to you? Ukraine, Russia, Great Britain, and whoever the hell we're at war with at the moment. How can I help you? Something that very few human beings exercise, and I really respect Carolina, one, for doing that, and secondly, for sharing that. We spend our lives trying to get other people to change so we feel better. Most of us on this screen have had an inkling into the realization that, no, you change yourself and the world changes. That maybe if you do decide to get honest with that individual or that family, where you could, what am I doing? What am I doing to exacerbate this? And I'm not blaming anybody, but what am I doing to exacerbate this? Is there anything I could do differently? Because that you do have control over.
Yeah, no, I don't know, nothing jumps to mind. They wouldn't even know I live here. And I've offered to help them with things they don't know. And it's like people think you've got an agenda. No, that's just me. I offered, do you need help with anything?
Yeah.
People
Well,
think you've got an agenda. Do you know what I mean? No, it's called being nice, being welcoming, being.
Yeah. That could be a line of communication you choose to keep open. I don't know. But I know that somehow you do. And somehow you will figure this out.
Yeah, I know what I need to do.
Does it involve petrol?
I don't? No,
That's good. So,
no.
because if you're scared about them hearing you, that house is attached to yours. I just wanted to
No, I'd never.
point that out.
I mean, even at the beginning of the word we mentioned, it was yeah, but obviously I wouldn't. It's usually that's the thing. I let myself suffer rather than somebody else suffer, if that makes sense.
Mhm. That's not always a wise choice.
I know that's why I need to say something.
We can see that as being a kind thing. Well, that's not always a wise choice.
I know, but some people also aren't taught things. Do you know what I mean? Some people and yeah, there's lots of different. Yeah, there's lots of different things. I know. Yeah, I just need to say something because there's also the possibility that I've said to myself, they might not realise how that constant interferes with me trying to work because I can't. You can't. People can hear it. Do you know what I mean? And I can't concentrate because it's and I can't hear what people are saying. They might not even know that it's affecting me. Do you know what I mean? Or it's
That's right.
affecting trying to work. So
That's right.
I've took that on my head. Unless I say something, they might not even know. I think they do know now because I have to keep turning everything up.
But I think it's
So-
one of the things that happened to you recently is in conversation, someone thinking that you knew something that you actually didn't, because to them it was very obvious
Because they felt it.
because they felt it and it was so
Yeah.
real for them, and to you it was totally, you're completely oblivious to it. And it's happened with us before, where in my mind I think you surely must know what I'm talking about, or why this is how it
Mm.
looks to me, and you're completely oblivious to it. And I think that's where you see, just because it looks so real to you and your creation and your story around it, it might look completely different to somebody else. Well, it will look completely different to somebody else. And I think it's
Yeah.
we live as though people can see our realities, and they can't, which is why we have to listen better and communicate better. And it's mad 'cause you think we live together, we spend so much time together, but we've had to have some really like honest conversations. And on the retreat recently, I realized like I need to make sure Dave is looking at me and actually registering what I'm saying. Because I've like for the last like few years, I felt sometimes like I'm going mental. I'm like, but I know I've told you this information and you're acting like it's completely new. But I realized, well, sometimes if I'm having a conversation, I just assume you're listening.
Mm.
And that's a really silly thing to assume,
And I've realised
especially when
that
you're busy.
sometimes I hear Jenny
Mm.
like white noise. Oh,
Yes.
it's still talking.
So I have to, because if it's important and he needs to know it, I need to make sure he's looking at me and I've said it at least 3 times and you've acknowledged the conversation. But then there's other times I've said to you, you don't even really need to listen. I just need to talk to someone. I need to get this out of me. But there's no need for you to remember any of this. There's no interaction needed. But like that adjustment is actually
I know.
a helpful thing to start to see.
Oh,
And
sorry, look, when you and I got together, I remember saying to you, because of I'd been
told off
like
so many times.
told off so many times. Right, look, I don't read between the lines. I don't do subtlety. I don't do what was the other things?
You should just know.
Yeah, you should just know what you don't know. You should know. I don't just know. If you need me to know something, can you do me a favor? Can you just tell me, please? Can you just tell me what you want? Don't play those games of what you don't know, what you did wrong. No, I bloody don't know what I did. What did I do wrong? I haven't got a clue. Well, you should know. You should know. You did. Yeah, but I don't know what I've done wrong. And this is the problem we face with separate, when we realize we live in separate realities. Our reality is so convincing to us that we get so perplexed that the other person doesn't see the reality that we see. That's where, there is a reason why we have communication language. It's so one reality can communicate with another. If we didn't live in separate realities, there would be no need for language.
Well, we create an idea of right and wrong, and we create an enemy, or someone that's almost out to get me, and then we create story around it. And I think even when there's been times where I'd think it was like maybe deliberate, or I don't know, you just start to see what your stories do. And I think you start getting a feel for when it's a good time for you to communicate and when it's not. And am I trying to be a people pleaser because I feel insecure? Am I doing it because I don't like confrontation? Like, you start just getting really honest with yourself first. So I know there's times where I've kept my mouth shut, not because it's not important to me, or not because actually being honest would probably be helpful, but just through fear of confrontation. And I think you start to notice your habits, the things that kind of rule your life. And I think I felt the principles to me has been like an anchor. You get a feel for when you're up in your head and when you're settled down. And they're 2 very different feelings. And I think the more you get a feel for that, then you communicate from your more settled down place more of the time. Like when we had a bit of a bust up a few weeks ago, and I knew that the only thing I could do is keep my mouth shut for about 4 or 5 hours.
Since.
And then I felt ready, like probably about 4 o'clock, and then about 10 o'clock at night, I felt like I can communicate now in a way that's settled down, and I can speak from where I need to speak from, rather than in judgment and in
sure.
anguish. And
What's that about?
last Sunday
Last Sunday.
before my birthday.
Is that when we went out with the family?
Yes.
Ah, yeah.
That's the only one actually we've had. So,
Oh yeah.
but I think that honesty with yourself first, and checking in with yourself, and knowing that that kindness you want to show other people, you can show for yourself, and you can have respect for yourself. You can see when you're creating a story and acting like feeling like a victim, because that's always going to be coming from this idea that someone is creating something for us. And you start to notice that. So I just felt like there's a lot of noticing and realization. I kind of feel like as you've been talking, the stuff that's been coming to you, but we get very wedded to our story. It's like, well, maybe I'm not right, but I think I am right. And like when we had the conversation, it was almost like I felt like I almost knew why what had happened. But I kind of knew that that was not going to get me anywhere in a conversation. I had to be open to hearing something different. So you have to keep cleaning your own ears and cleaning your own heart.
I'd never I'd never have a conversation if my mind was stirred. That I do know. I'm very solid in that, because it gets you nowhere. But I think what just jumped out in what you just said was being like unkind to yourself. And I thought, that made me think, and I thought, actually, that's probably something I wouldn't have thought of. And that kind of resonates with something, because I probably have been unkind to myself, because some of the things that I've thought, do you know what I mean? Which I don't like, not to the extreme of obviously what we said at the beginning. Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
That's right. That's where I go first.
I just realised Matt's had his hand up, so I don't know if Matt, have you got something you'd like to say to Sharon, or sort of on this topic?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm sorry for being off camera, just doing domestic things.
What is that in the way?
I'm trying to work it out. I think it's a stapler in a really weird sort of proportion. Still in shot. Yeah, no, lovely surprise to kind of be here. Thank you, Jenny, for posting the kind of link. As you were just talking, it brought back to me something that happened at the end of last week that totally took me by surprise on exactly on this topic. A colleague who I've worked with for a couple of years now, experienced person, must be kind of, I think a little older than me. I made it was announced that she was leaving, and I made what I thought was a joke. She was doing some printing. I said, "Oh, making the most of the printing while you can." It's my kind of humor. And she said, "Oh, one of your snarky comments," and I was like, "Whoa, there's something going on there that I obviously didn't kind of clock." And so at the end of the day, she was on her own. And I said, "I'm really, really sorry. Have I said anything to kind of rub you up the wrong way?" What turned out that basically everything I said had effectively rubbed her the wrong way from right when we first got to know each other. And I kind of I had detected. I guess I pride myself on someone who's quite attuned in relationships, and that's kind of the work that I do as well. And I had definitely noticed a frisson in the first few months, where somehow we were rubbing each other up the wrong way, and I sensed potentially a little insecurity in her, and maybe there was something about how I was doing it. Anyway, there was just a few unfortunate kind of exchanges, but I thought we kind of got to know each other better and moved on from there. And in my head, there was nothing there. Like I really enjoyed her, appreciated her, respected her as a colleague. There was no thinking. And so we had this conversation when she clearly had been, you know, had a lot of thinking about me that she'd held for a long time, and it was just such a wake-up call. Like, oh my God, you know, even with even with my view of myself as someone who is attuned, and you know, sort of I you know, sort of there was this whole thing going on behind the scenes without me even realizing it, and I felt terrible that I'd inadvertently kept, you know, sort of exacerbating where she was at, but also felt terrible without taking a level of responsibility for kind of maybe not being as attentive as I could have been, but equally knowing that I wasn't responsible for her thinking, and that you know, that my sense was that there was stuff going on for her that kind of made her kind of sensitive to whatever it was that she found sort of you know, sort of off in our kind of exchange. But I was really crestfallen, and I said, you probably won't believe me, but just to reassure you that there's nothing going on for me. There's and I was kind of mindful of, like, I don't want to come across like I'm, you know, gaslighting you, like I'm not acknowledging that these feelings are clearly kind of there, and that I've had a role in them. But I equally want to reassure you that there was no intent. There was I had nothing on it. Like, I was just being my obviously annoying self, and that's kind of rubbed you up the wrong way. But you know, that's the first time I know of that happening in a long time. But it really kind of showed me, like, you really don't know what's going on, and you need to tread more carefully, because you've obviously, you know, upset this person unknowingly, but also, you know, that I could have got in, you know, I could have got in trouble. You know, it sort of you know, with that level of thinking, you know, something else might have come of that. And so yeah, that was a life lesson for me that kind of is the other side of the fence to what's being discussed. So don't know if that's helpful for anyone, but that's my confessional for the evening.
Thank you.
I'm actually really, really annoying, and I never realised.
Not in my world. No, you can't. You're not in control of
In
somebody
good
else's.
company with you.
Huh?
He's in good company
Yeah,
with
you and I should never spend time together.
Like the amount of people
around
that
people.
get offended, and you're like,
My
mom.
your mum. Well, I do my best to offend your mum. It's not difficult, is it?
Mm.
I don't have to show up and your mum's offended.
It's not you, it's your bags and your boxes.
Not me, it's my bags. Yeah, my boxes. Does she not like my boxes?
Boxes.
Boxes. Oh, thought your mum had told you something.
They offend her as well. Your tree surgery ones with the holes.
The holy ones.
She's like,
Yeah.
throw these
Why have
away.
you still got there? They're my work underpants. Blokes have work underpants, right? You have your good underpants. You have your work underpants. Yes. I've had clients look up the tree as I've been in my harness, and I didn't realise my trousers had split as well in between my legs. And I had this very posh customer, and she looked up at me and she went, "David?" I said, "Yes." And she went, "I can see your testicles." I was like, "Oh, great. Have my trousers. Oh, bloody hell." I knew my boxer shorts had split, but I didn't know.
Did you charge her extra, David?
No, I didn't actually. Do you think I should have done?
Maybe you got a tip.
Could have got a tip. I never got a tip, mate. I never got a tip. Thanks, mate. Another one of your snarky comments. No, you can't. You can't. I was speaking with a beautiful man the other day who's just lost his job. And he's a big lad. He's a manly man, if you like, but a very gentle man. And he was in a conversation with this lady, and this man was just like, well, fuck it. If that's how it is, I don't want to fucking work here. And he said, I just got up and walked out. He said, and then I got a bollocking for being threatening. This lady took him as being threatening. And he said, I wasn't threatening. He said, can you imagine me being threatened? I said, no, I can't imagine you actually being threatened. He said, I'll tell you the truth, Dave. He said, I was crying as I said it. He said, I was that upset. And you have no control over what other people think. So in this world of multiple realities taking place all at once, 8 billion, say, realities taking place all at once, you have no control over somebody else's reality. I said to somebody in the supermarket, oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart, sorry. She turned around and looked at me and went, I am not your sweetheart. I said, I never said you were my sweetheart. And I can say that to one person and they get deeply offended, or call somebody love. I had somebody go, you are Northern, aren't you? And I went, yeah. And they went, oh, that's all right then. All right, okay. Because if it had been some other race of person calling somebody love, that would have been deeply offensive. Because I'm Northern, I get away with it. But you see, you can do your best to go through your life, but the way it's geared, not everybody's going to like what you say. The way it's geared, not everybody's going to hear you the way you say something. You can say something in jest and it be taken a completely different way by another individual. Because that's the way that life's geared. It's geared that way. And the more we can appreciate that fact, the more we can kind of communicate on a better level. Because one of the things often Jenny and I are saying to each other, what do you mean by that? What does that word mean to you? Or somebody will come and work with us and they'll say this, that, the other. What does that actually mean to you? Just so I'm clear, because in my world, that means something totally different. Like we have a girl who came on this call and she told us about how she got frigged off in a car park. I'm like, you what? I got properly frigged off by him. I'm like, what does frigged off mean to you in Yorkshire? Because in Cumbria it means something totally different. She went, I got really angry with him. All right, okay. You see, no, forget it. And because so you see, we have these problems, and often it boils down to words. Do you know what I mean? And each word means something different. This is how complex it all becomes. But the more we are aware of that, the more we can do what Carolina did. You can step back and go, right, am I missing something here? What do you mean? Could you expand on that? Could you talk to us a little bit more about that point, please? Could you be a bit more open about that part? And the more you know that you are unbreakable, spirit, sticks and stones may break my bones. No, just didn't think it needed. Everybody knows it. But words will never hurt me. They don't. They can't hurt you. Words can't hurt you. And I remember being in school saying that, and the kids are like, you what? Of course they can. And I've probably said this a million times on community group, but little feisty kid, I went, you feisty one, go on, give me your worst. Don't swear your teachers in. And they're like, your hair looks stupid. Your glasses are stupid.
You're ugly.
You're ugly. Oh, clearly, I'm not, love. You're blind. And it got to the end where it was like, I said, are you finished? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. I'm laughing. No, you haven't hurt my feelings. And this other kid's like, can I have a go? And they're all having a go and giving me shit. And I'm just like, look, you've made me laugh. I'll give you dues. You made me laugh. Thank you. Like, really, you're not upset? No, I'm not upset. I'm not upset by what you think about me. And then, like I've said this a million times, but this one kid, he just looked at me and went, can I have a go? I'm like, yeah, and he went, kill your dog. I was like, good effort, son. That was a good one. But no, the entirety of our experience, and I'm not talking about outside of ourselves. I'm talking about experience, the invisible thing that is our reality, the invisible constant that is our reality. I'm talking about experience. 100% of our experience is created from within ourselves. 100% of the way we survey the world, the way we see ourselves, the way we see others, is created from within ourselves, by a force that we call thought. That infinite, malleable, spiritual, creative gift that creates heaven and hell, states of being, never goes anywhere. 100% of our experience of life is created by it. That's why you can look at any subject and you can change your mind on it in a moment and it looks different. That's happening 8 billion times right now, apparently. It's a mad old world, and you say I'm surprised we get on as well as what we do. But the more you are aware of that, the less personally you can take people. And the less personally you can take people.
Well, the thing is, it sounds like a nice idea, but it's like the truth is it can never be personal. Because it's always going to be a separate reality. So even if it feels like it's aimed at us, it can never be about us. It's never personal. Like that's the truth of it. And I think when we align with that, it definitely does something for the feeling. If we take something personally or we believe it, it feels one way. And when we see it as somebody else's potential, nothing to do with us, it feels another way. And there's a neutrality in one and a kind of a heaviness in another. And I think that's when we view a situation more neutrally, we are more in alignment with what is true. And so our feeling is the guide of that. Our feeling will be telling us where we are with that understanding. And I think when the kids were doing all that stuff to you, I was thinking, I don't know if actually if they'd said some of those things to me, I might have taken some of them a bit personally.
Should have walked out crying.
Is that really true? Is this jumper really stupid? Like
wearing a stupid jumper. I don't remember them saying that. Did you say that? Did you just say that?
It was a cardigan.
Oh yeah, that was stupid.
But I think
it's on teacher mode.
You start to see like, well, this is actually an insecurity within me. If someone says something to us and we feel it and we take it personally, it's because we at some level we kind of think it for ourselves, whereas you think you're like
just awesome.
Just awesome. So there's nothing anyone could have said to you that day that would make you think you weren't awesome.
No.
But I think you get a good feel for that. Like, where am I in this? Am I in line with what's true or not? And from a settled down place of neutrality, we can view any content in a very different way to when we're caught up and it's personal and it's about us.
It looks so friggin' real when you're in it. What was that look for? Carolina. Oh, Wayne, whoever's clicked.
You want to say something?
That's all right. Go after you.
Well, there were two things that I thought were interesting. One is that we never usually we tend to have like this catastrophe possible thinking of like well, if I were to do this, like this and that will just, everything will be horrible disaster. But because I looked at Amanda and I thought like, oh, she was 5 years with some sort of problem, and last week she was saying like, and it was sorted in one day like that, and she was like, and now what? So can you imagine if Sharon, if you just go, oh, hello, I thought it would be nice to just say hello and have a talk. And this is funny because you probably don't realize, but on the side that I work there, and so constantly and they go, oh really? Oh my God, oh no, we didn't know. We're really sorry. And they just hang that on the opposite door, the opposite wall, and that's right. And it's like one day during COVID, my neighbor was closing at like whatever it was, like a 30 million pound deal, and I had my music full thing because I was doing a Zumba class in my living room. We were happy at that point, and then he said I had to tell my client my neighbor is giving a class. And I just thought, well, I will let you know which days I have a class, and I need to have it at that, because if not, I can't hear myself with the noise on the floor while I'm tap. And the other thing was, like a few days ago, whenever Wayne says, you know what we should do? We should have this, or we should do that, or we should do, and he's helping because he can see I am like flustered and happy and trying to sort out something. And I thought, one more time, he says, this is what we should do. And what this sounds to me is like, this is another job you're going to add to your list of things you have to do. I'm going to blow a casket, and I become really hostile and really horrible to him when he starts saying things like that. He feels he's helping. I feel he's not seeing me. He's just going like, yeah, I'll go we and you do it. And it's like, you know what we should do? We should move that big piece of furniture from this place to another. And I think, well, he's not going to do it because obviously, given his disability, he's going to be lifting. And then at some point I go like, well, it's not you, is it? It's me going to be doing it. And then sometimes he says, well, I could sit on a chair and help you push it or move it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or the other day, I said, you know what? Well, we should have a file with all the documents and go through them. And like, so, okay. So that means you could sit down. You're going to sit down and go through all, and I said it in this tone, go through all the papers? Are you? I said, okay. What is helpful to me is either if it's something that I'm going to do and you can't do it, is to say, maybe we should find a way to help you do this. Or if you give me all the papers and a file or whatever, at some point I can get through them. But we say we should, that doesn't help me. I'm hearing this and I want to slap you on the face, and it feels very personal. I feel unheard, that I'm not heard. And I think it's quite good to realize that a phrase that the other person is saying, especially in relationships that are so close, they may feel like I'm trying to help and you're like being so hostile with me as a reply. Next time I'll say nothing. The next thing I said something that I thought was very serious. He said, oh, the weather is awful outside, isn't it? That's your reply to what I'm saying, and I left the room.
But it's colder in here.
nearly 14 years together. It still happens
Is
on a
what
daily
happens.
basis.
Like
Really
I always say, family are the people we think we know the best. And they're the people we listen to the least. Because we already frigging know. No, we don't. They're the people that we have the biggest stories about. They're the people we're the least flexible with. It's true. I love that, Carolina. You know, and if we can all start to take responsibility for ourselves, for our own feelings. Thanks, Matt. Then the victimhood starts to die and you start to communicate better. And in all honesty, it doesn't happen to us straight away, but we do come round to it.
It's normally when it's just a thought often will come to me is we're actually on the same team. And I'm acting like you're on an opposing team to me, and like there's something to fight. And yeah, and when you're defensive, you can see it, but it's so nice to notice it and not have to live out of it and to be able to let things go. And I think that's
just to be present with each
like it absolutely blows my mind how like you have got a bad memory over certain things, but like so much of the time it's a gift because
I don't remember saying.
you'll be like, when did we fall out? What was it about? And it's like it's honestly gone. And I'm like, wow, that's incredible to me that's
somewhere in that pile of fallouts over there.
Yeah, but you won't even remember them.
No, I forgot about the pile. There's something that's kept coming to me, and I don't know why.
Is it appropriate?
Probably, yeah, of course it is. But it was in South Africa. There was a lady called Susan. She was a coloured lady. And coloured not being black in South Africa. It's a Cape coloured, she referred to herself as. Well, people start jumping all over me, which has happened. She's called Susan. And she was a church lady. She loved the church. And the church needed a new roof. And nobody had any money. Church didn't have any money. And so she looked around her community. She's like, well, who's got money that we can go to? The gangsters, the drug dealers, they have money. And Susan says, I'm going to go speak to the gangsters and the drug dealers. And everybody was saying to her, don't speak to them. Don't speak to them. Don't go near them. She said it's really easy in South Africa in a township to find a drug dealer or this is what she said, or a gangster, because they're generally doing this. She said, so I saw someone, I walked up to them and said, we need a new roof on our church. Would you lot be able to contribute some money? And she said, they couldn't wait to contribute money to the church. She said there was no problems. She said they wanted to contribute money to the church. And she said, we got the roof fixed and the gangsters and the drug dealers paid for it. I love that lady.
Very.
She knew that in the heart of everyone there is goodness. She knew that. And all people need to be given is an opportunity to shine. And she gave them that opportunity and they jumped at that opportunity and they took it. And it was a beautiful outcome. Yeah, I'll never forget that. if we can speak to that goodness in people, like Susan did, we get very different outcomes in our life. Yeah, I just want to share that. It's come to me 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Right, isn't it? Nearly. It's over 10 years ago, isn't it?
Mm.
November,
July.
July. I can't remember.
Cool. Could sit around the fire.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to talk about Claviso, where there's one of the ladies who was on our second training, and she was quite a bit hostile, and
Claviso was.
the second Claviso, very tall one.
Clabisa.
Mhm.
Sorry.
And she'd been driving herself, like we didn't think she was listening, but at the end she said she wanted to share something, and she realized she'd been driving herself mad because her brother was annoying her so much
Oh, yeah.
because he was what she called a coconut.
The coconut.
He was black on the outside and white on the inside, and he wore socks up to here with sandals, and he told his mum he loved her, and
Like a white man would.
and like there's all these like things she was talking about. Their brother were like, he sounds like a really
I
nice
said
guy.
no self-respecting white man wears socks up there with sandals.
All the kids do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool at the moment.
Ahead of his time.
But she saw how she just took everything he did as like a personal slight on her. And she just recognized it. And she went home and she gave him a hug and she's like, I love you just as you are. Like, so she had this huge shift. And I think it does allow you to see clearer sometimes.
Yeah, why is he not acting like a black man?
Why isn't he
she
acting
said.
how I think he should
Yeah.
act? He should be acting how I think he should
Yeah.
act. Like a black man should act. And she had all these ideas, and
Yeah.
it was so cool because we hadn't spoken about, and we didn't go into like loads of stuff on
I
relationships.
said to her, he sounds like a really good man to me. She went, yeah, but you're a white man. He's acting like a white man.
And then
Right.
she was really surprised that she'd had insight and had this shift, because she said, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. I was
That's what
like,
she said.
how old are you? And she's like, 34. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Get out. Get out. She was lovely, wasn't she?
She was.
But that was it, you know. She thought she saw her brother. She thought she knew who he was, and then one realization later, she has a different brother, but brother hasn't changed. What am I missing here?
I don't know if I mentioned it last week on community group, but but maybe it was on retreat. In Elsie Spittle's book, she had to speak before Sid at one of the conferences, so she's quite nervous. And then she stood up and she was sharing, and then a guy just stood up and said, like, what are you talking about? We're talking about love, and criticized her. And she said she almost burst into tears, but she said what came out of her mouth was, well, is this the feeling you want to live in? And then she like walked off the stage, and she said on the plane on the way home she was feeling so stupid, and she wasn't ready to be sharing, and she'd let Sid down, and she beat herself up about it for quite a while afterwards. She tells this story in one of her books, and she said it was a few years after that, at a conference, this guy came up to her and said he was the one that had been telling her she was talking rubbish. But when she said to him, is this the feeling you want to live in? It shifted and did something for him where it changed his understanding and it changed his life. And he started listening and got interested. And I think that's the other thing you start to see is sometimes we think a communication's gone badly and it means this, and we make meaning out of it. But actually, it's the unfolding as it happens. There's learning in it and there's potential in it, and we don't know. And you stop holding on to it and attaching to it in a way that we think we know something. So it didn't go how she thought it should go, but actually it was perfect because it changed that man's life in such a radical way, and then the ripple effects from that. And she did great learning through it.
Hmm.
What did you write down?
Title.
Oh. I was wondering why it seemed like quite a long group, and I realised it's because I was here almost on time for a change.
That monitor's not
Yeah.
picking up. Does anybody else want to share anything before we draw to a close? Matt.
I just want to say thank you. I mean, I just feel wonderfully blessed to have this community and you guys in my life. Just as I said, it was just such a serendipitous sort of kind of thing that Genial message popped up just in a timely way. And if you'd have told me that I would have been belly laughing at your boxes and kind of just having a wonderful reminder of to listen with love sort of at any point during the rest of today, I would not have credited it. So I just wanted to say a kind of massive thank you for being there for us.
Great, another snarky comment.
You're going to wish you never told that story, Matt.
Love you, dude.
I
Thanks.
thought you were going to tell your Valentine's story.
What was that?
Well, it's up to
I've
me.
forgotten it.
Why can you see something, Jen? Is there something wrong?
Oh, I've remembered it.
Turning
No,
the
what you
camera
said,
off.
you think someone's thinking something that they're not.
I can't remember what I said. I think you're making it up.
Yeah, we're making it up. I've grown a massive hider here. Yeah. Look back at last week's.
No, it wasn't last week. It was our retreat catch up.
Oh, was it the retreat? It was a retreat catch up, wasn't it? Yeah, no, sorry, you'll all miss out on that. Loved it. Spend half my life like that though, dude. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming, mate. Anybody else? Go in. Go in. Gone. Cool. 9 o'clock, bang on, look at that. Right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you all so much. Sharon, send your love. Send your neighbours love as well.
Thank you.
Next time you come to community group and you want to talk about something and you want to spell things out so that we don't say them, wear earphones.
That's a good idea.
Is
But then don't start shouting because you got your headphones on.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Sharon. Thank you for opening up tonight. And just thank you everybody for being here. Anybody wishes to make a donation, please have a look in the description below. And anybody who wants to get in contact with us, work with us after tonight's awesome performance, info@freedomthinking.co.uk. Please get in touch.
See you next week, hopefully.
See you next week. See you on Monday. God bless everyone.
But
Thank
Thank you all so much.
See
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.